I just finished rewatching Jagga Jasoos and there is a lot to unpack. Now, some of the references are pretty obvious. You know how the movie draws inspiration from the adventures of Tintin. Okay, look at the hairstyle, the boy detective energy, or even the yellow biplane. But if you're a Bengali who watched Goopy Gyne Bagha Byne as a kid, this film unravels further. Not only does a phrase like Hotel Aga Pastala take you back to like cultural wordplay, but also there is this one scene that re-establishes the fact that the makers of Jagga Jasoos are paying an ode to Satyajit Ray's 1969 classic Goopy Gyne Bagha Byne. The scene where an act of war or violence is basically averted with a rain of sweets. But apart from these obvious references, what I noticed during the rewatch was this particular Anurag Basu cinematic universe where narrative elements transcend across two of his films, Barfi and Jagga Jasoos. Okay, stay with me while I elaborate. Both these movies open with the Picture Shuru track, which is kind of gently telling you to, suspend your disbelief and welcome into this world which is not so real worldly. And while it's also dropping subtle hints about the story. The first element is this building, Jhilmil's institutional home and Jagga's boarding school. Played by the exact same building, which basically kind of, is symbolic of a sanctuary, which is protecting their childlike innocence from the noise of the outside world. Then there is this kind of echo of this scene. On one hand, Jhilmil is clinging on to Barfi while he washes her feet, the same way that Shruti is clinging on to Jagga when he ties her shoelaces. Remember, both these characters, Barfi and Jagga, struggle with speech, right? So these little acts becomes the gestures of intimacy that they show. And in both these movies, the narrator's name is Shruti. She's the one who's telling the audience the whole story and kind of becomes our emotional anchor. Different character, but same function. Now, my theory is that both these movies are somehow connected in some universe. But my final takeaway is that Jagga Jasoos, I think, deserved way more credit. Maybe it was too experimental, because it's a musical fantasy, but also sort of a live action comic book. And also, it relies heavily on a lot of the cultural references that are easy to miss. But I do think it deserves a rewatch.